Thank you. Senator O'Donnell.
And Leader, last Thursday, when the revelations came to light about the Police Ombudsman's investigations and the withholding of what he deemed sensitive and significant information from those investigations, I asked the acting leader at that stage if the Minister for Justice could come in to the House. These issues are very sensitive, they're very emotive, as we've experienced here this morning or today already. And I will ensure that I temper my remarks conscious of the victims concerned here today. But there are a number of points that need made, and there are a number of things that need addressed. And in beginning, I just want to refer to Senator Ardag's speech. And I have a feeling, and I don't say this disrespectfully, but I have a feeling that Senator Ardag doesn't mean to cause any additional hurt or trauma to these families. I suspect she's been handed a script to recite, but I do think it is worth reflecting on that. I do note that there are many words that were missing from the address this morning. Those words included victims, the Ormeau Road Bookies, Councillor Eddie Fullerton, the UDA, the UVF, Special Branch, murder, the Police Ombudsman, accountability, truth and justice. What we're talking about here relates to some 30 killings by British security services, or indeed their proxies and loyalist paramilitaries. Everything else is just a distraction. That is what we should be talking about in the here and now. And families, through their solicitors, have asked that the Irish Government scrutinise how this omission, how this deliberate withholding, whatever it may prove to be, came to pass. And in talking about these victims, because like Senator Devine, I grew up a short distance from the Ormeau Road Bookies. I know many of the families, I know many of the survivors. Our constituency office is just a few doors up from the Ormeau Road Bookies. I would occasionally have went for a pint in the Hatfield bar myself. I worked in the local Gael school, so I know that area very well, and I know the families there have waited 27 years for truth and for justice. So when they hear that the PSNI has withheld significant and sensitive information in relation to that, I don't think that warrants a shouting match back and forward here. I think that warrants a serious consideration and reflection by all of us and by the government moving forward. One of the cases that this implicates, and I would ask, because I've heard back and forward, what about this one and what about that one and what about Sinn Féin, and we could get into that if people want to get into that, but I don't think that does the victims any good. Damien Walsh was 17 and he was on a youth training scheme in the dairy farm complex. He went to work in a coal yard, and he actually wasn't meant to be working the night that he was killed. He changed his shift so he could go out with his girlfriend to the pictures the following night. The UVF came into a coal yard and shot Damien upwards of 6 times in the back. Now that is bad and bad enough, and I don't think when we're talking about these cases Damien's mother, Marion, would appreciate people shouting back and forward, what about this one and what about that one. I think Marion would appreciate people to take the time to think and reflect on the loss of her son, and the fact that when he was killed by the UFF, that there was an undercover British Army intelligence unit watching the coal depot and did not intervene when Damien was shot and killed. So those are the cases that we're talking about. All of those cases across 7 counties, 30 murders, including Councillor Eddie Fullerton in Buncrana in County Donnghaile. So I would ask again, Leader, that the Minister for Justice, at an available slot next week, as per the family's request, would come in to comment on this revelation, to address and speak to the families given their concerns, and to indicate the Irish Government's view on this and what actions they hope to take moving forward.
The leader to respond.
And can I thank the 14 members of the House for their contributions on the order of business. And Senator Arda, Senator Conway-Walsh, Senator Devine and Senator O'Donnell first of all raised the remarks of the Sinn Féin leader regarding the new appointment of a PSNI Chief Constable, and notwithstanding the last remarks and contributions of Senator O'Donnell in the context that victims of all sides of the political divide in the North are looking for truth, looking for justice, are grieving and not wanting to in any way be seen to denigrate their loved ones or their own grief. And we all want to have reconciliation. I do think it's important, though, Senator Donnghaile and other members of the House, that we put in context that, you know, the Sinn Féin party has no authority to come down anywhere in terms of dictating to who or what can be said, because to me, you seem to have no regard for authority at all. You are absolutely destructive in the way you approach things.
Coming from you in the leader's chamber.
You pulled down the Assembly in the North. You're a fair man to yourself. You pulled down the Assembly in the North.
Why?
All you can do in these houses of your office is to put down motions of no confidence, looking for a political head. You have no sense of how to fix anything or how to solve anything. You don't accept any responsibility.
You made address the concerns of the families here.
And you oppose everything. And in the context of your contribution, Senator Donnghaile, I very much understand and acknowledge the remarks of the Ombudsman, Mr Maguire, in terms of what he said. And nobody condones or supports the concealing, the withholding of information for whatever reason. I do note the report, and I'm not in any way here as an apologist for anybody. But there are two parts to of what I'm speaking about, and I understand
that's why confidence is so low in police, and you can understand.
Senator, you have a one-dimensional view of the world, and that's your entitlement.
No, I don't.
You do, to be fair.
I don't. Do you want to walk on the Ormeau Road with me?
I've been up there. I'll walk with you any day. I'll walk with you any day. I'll walk with you any day up there. And I have friends of mine who as I've said to you before, and I will be very happy to go up there with you any time. I'm a very open person, Senator Donnghaile. I was the first Oireachtas Health Committee chair to bring our committee to Stormont to have a joint sitting in Stormont, we welcomed in this chamber collectively the Lord Mayor of Belfast, your party colleague, who gave a very impressive contribution here. So let's make it clear, I don't come with any dimension other than open-mindedness, but your party has a very one-dimensional view, and I'll challenge in this, members. Your own party colleague, Jerry Kelly, did say, in contradiction of your party leader, that there were people within the PSNI who were capable of the job. He did say that your party leader didn't know that the top brass of the PSNI. And I would make the point, in terms of policing, if we've learnt nothing from the mistakes of the Troubles, or if we learnt nothing from the mistakes that we made down here, then political involvement in policing has no place. There should be an independent, devoid of political interference, and I think your own party is against political policing.
What? That's the Ombudsman?
I think you're all against political policing. No, you can. So you're either for. You can't be all things to all people, you know. And what I will say is, you can't interfere in a political process which is independent and transparent to appoint a new PSNI chief constable, and let those who were involved, and you have your own party members in the policing board who are quite capable of appointing. So I would make that point that Senator Arda is well within her remit to come down here in this chamber today and make her contribution in the way she did.
She made mention the victims. You made mention the victims tomorrow.
You can use.
You talk about looking after victims and look at victims.
Please, show the chair, respect the chair, and don't.
It's about taking
all of us, Cahirlock. All of us, Cahirlock. All of us, Cahirlock.
Senator Arda, please.
All of us, Cahirlock.
Please.
All of us, Cahirlock.
Please.
That's a nice.
If you're going to continue, please, Senator Arda, please. If you're going to continue having a conversation, I'll adjourn for 20 minutes. Please let the leader respond.
All we want, all of us, Cahirlock, want to achieve. All of us want to achieve, Cahirlock, despite the rhetoric of some, is for reconciliation to continue on our island, and that there are victims on all sides of the political debate and divide who are looking for justice, who are looking for truth, and that applies north of our island, orange, green or white.
Exactly.
And south, and in fact down south. And there are members of unguarded Síochána who were killed and members of the Defence Forces whose families are grieving today and who require answers. Cathaoirleach Senator Arder